now I would like to invite another young officer from the state of Karnataka, Mr. Muhammad Roshan, Chief Executive Officer, Haveri Zilla Panchayat, Karnataka. Mr. Muhammad Roshan.
It's a matter of great joy to be a part of this August gathering. My name is Roshan. I am the Chief Executive Officer, Zilla Panchayat, Haveri district. My earlier stint was in a district called Karwar. I worked there for about 3 years before being transferred to Haveri. In Karwar, I had actually had a lot of insights into how to manage the solid waste. And when I came to Haveri, which is also the district, which is the home district of my Chief Minister, Shri Baswaraj Bomaiji, as soon as I took charge, he said, we'll have to deal with the menace of grey water. So the project that Bhubalan ji has started, my project starts where his project ends. He conserves water, and then we utilize the water, and then how we dispose of with this grey water is where my project actually takes us. So once our CM told, I took the advice of my Additional Chief Secretary, Shri Elets Atiq Saab. He guided us. He visited my district more than 4 times. He asked us to conceptualize a holistic scheme, and we coined a name for the scheme. We called it Nirmal Haveri. The project basically has 3 parts. So the first thing we did was, we are the first district in the state of Karnataka, or if I may dare to say so, in the country, to have finished the topographic survey of the entire rural district of Haveri. We went to each and every village. We saw the RLs, the reduced levels of each and every road, drain that was constructed by various schemes in my district. And we did this kind of topographic survey. We have topographic survey of all the 714 villages, every road, every drain, where the water is flowing from, where it is getting accumulated. So this achievement, this particular task took us more than 4 months to achieve. In this example, you can see that there are about 4 major lanes, and the water drains through the open drains of these lanes and approaches a lake at the far right corner. So we took up the drain construction. So we realized once we finished the topo survey that there were parts of these drains that were still to be constructed. There were drains that were ill constructed. They had no levels. Water was stagnant in most of the drains. If you ever visit your villages, you will see that this is not the situation in Haveri alone, but the situation across the country. So we took up, as Bhubalan Sahab had done it under Narega, we also took up the scheme of constructing, repairing, rejuvenating the drains, getting the RLs back on track, seeing where the water is flowing from which point to which point. We made sure that the grey water that is generated from every household reaches a particular accumulation point. In a matter of about 3 months, we constructed under Manarega close to about 300 kilometers of drain. We had to maintain the 60-40 ratio, which is usually, I hope all my panelists who are working in the field face the same issue. I'm sure they face the same issue. I mean, we had to really go to the grassroots level and make sure that the assets we are building were as per the scheme directive. So in 3 months, we constructed the drains. We saw that the RLs were rectified. You can see a few pictures of the drains being constructed. Open drain is a good concept. You don't need a underground drainage for rural India. Open drain basically helps us to aerate the water, the grey water that is generated. The only thing we need to make sure is that there is no breeding of mosquitoes and other such vectors. We can do that by maintaining a constant flow, and that can be achieved if you do a topo survey for every village. The topo survey costed us hardly 3,500 rupees. We empaneled some agencies. They came in, they brought in their equipment, they did a total station survey, they brought in their GPS machines, and they got the survey completed. After this, you can see on the top picture, this is an example of a village called Kodiyal. It's a village in a block called Ranebennur. It's a semi-industrialized area of my district. We have very big factories. Grasim works there, Ambuja works there. So you can see that the water is very brackish. It is absolutely black, and the kind of fecal contamination that was present there was enormous. and it was directly being released into the Tungabhadra river. And every time we go take a dip in the holy rivers, we know what is happening with us. So we try to find some solution to these issues locally. So the third part, first we did the topo survey, then we got the drains corrected, and third part is how do we finally deal with the grey water that was getting accumulated at the accumulation point and which was getting released into the rivers. So this Kodial project, we found a small piece of land. We did a lot of talking with the stakeholders, and we devised the first grey water management plant. It was a very basic structure. I'll show you the structure. Yeah, this is the structure. It had a screen, it had a silt trap. The village of Kodial, especially this drain, it was producing close to about 55,000 liters of grey water every day. So it's about 50 KLD of grey water that goes directly into the Tungabhadra river. So under the Jal Jeevan mission, all the other officers must be knowing, under the Jal Jeevan mission, we are mandated to provide 55 liters of water per person every day. So out of that, even 35 liters of water becomes grey water. It is a huge quantum of water that we need to treat before we release it into the rivers, lakes or rivulets. So the first stage was the screening, where we screened the solids. We had a silt trap where we could screen some more solids. Then we had a sedimentation pond. The sedimentation pond was basically for solids that could sediment, which could settle. And this had a capacity of about 85,000 liters. And the next step was to have a stabilization pond for solids that were floating, which could be manually screened. Post that comes the most magical part of this particular project. We did something called as the constructed wetland. We built a 135-meter constructed wetland using jelly and using some filter media, using sand, and we put kenna plantation on that. The kenna plantation has grown out quite well, and that kenna plantation absorbs the dissolved nutrients that is present in the grey water in the third stage. So after these three stages, we did a water sample test, and to everyone's surprise and to my absolute pleasure, the water quality improved by 86%. And from absolutely black water, my wife is from Himachal Pradesh, she's my batchmate. So she always keeps complaining, you should come to Himachal and look at our streams. They're so pristine. And the people of Himachal are also very pristine. So I took her to this place and I showed her the final stream that enters the Tungabhadra river. And it is like any other stream in Himachal Pradesh. So there are some pictures. Our Additional Chief Secretary, Shri L.K. Ateek Saab, had visited our project. There's another project, Benkankonda. We are doing multiple projects like this. Out of 714 villages in my district, we have currently taken up such projects in close to 520 villages. In another year or so, I'll be able to saturate the entire scheme. And this is the river Tungabhadra flowing in my district. We have about 18 Gram Panchayats that abut the Tungabhadra river. And in a couple of months from now, I'll be able to saturate my Nirmal Haveri project in these Gram Panchayats. And we are declaring that Tungabhadra river, the stretch that is flowing in Haveri district, is pollution free. I'm also very glad to inform you that NGT has taken note of this project and asked it to be replicated not just in Karnataka but across the country. There's a small video of 2 minutes. If you could play that, and at the end of the video, you will see that stream of water.
Tungabhadra and Varada rivers form the lifelines of Haveri district. Till date, there were no facilities for the treatment of the wastewater generated from the rural areas and the human habitations on the banks of these rivers. As a result, the wastewater generated was naturally finding its way into these rivers without any treatment. The quality of the rivers thereby was getting compromised by the direct discharge of domestic wastewater. The same rivers were being utilized for various human and livestock activities in the downstream, which would eventually result in health issues. To address these issues of direct discharge of wastewater, the Zilla Panchayat Haveri has launched a project titled Nirmal Haveri. This project was an amalgamation of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme and Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin. Under this project, the domestic wastewater, especially grey water, would be treated scientifically through a nature-based, environment-friendly treatment method.
This is the
To
constructed
roll
wetland.
out the Nirmal Haveri project, Kodiyala Gram Panchayat of Rannavenur Taluk was selected to implement this first-of-a-kind grey water treatment project as a pilot project in the entire state of rural Karnataka.
This is how
The
water
total
looks like
population of this Gram Panchayat stands at 10,252. On an average, more than 50,000 litre of wastewater or grey water was getting discharged directly without any treatment through one of the drains or outlet into the river. As a solution to this problem, under Nirmala Haveri initiative, the Haveri Zilla Panchayat established a scientific and nature-based environment-friendly treatment method for the treatment of wastewater or grey water.
Thank you so much.